We've been lied to about retirement. We're taught to save every single penny for the freedom of doing nothing, but nobody warns you about the sudden, heavy silence that hits your life the moment the paycheck stops. It's not just the job you leave behind. It's things you thought were permanent parts of who you are. If you're already retired or planning for it, you probably know that eerie feeling of being completely out of sync with the rest of the world. Trust me, you are not alone in this. Today, we're looking at the 8 things that will quietly walk out of your life after you retire, and make sure to stay until the very last one, because that's the one that completely catches everyone off guard. First, the constant rushing goes away. For 30 or 40 years, you lived with an invisible alarm clock in your head. You always felt like everything had to be done right this second. You rushed to answer every email within 5 minutes, rushed through your lunch break, and practically ran through the grocery store aisles. When you retire, that rush stops completely. But here is the hard part: your brain doesn't know how to turn that off. In those first few months, sitting on the porch with a cup of coffee feels weird. You constantly feel like you are forgetting something important or falling behind, until you slowly realize there is nowhere you actually need to run to anymore. Second, the habit of being busy leaves you. In America, busy is a status symbol. When a neighbor asks how you are doing, the automatic response is always, "Good, just so busy." It makes us feel important, valued, and needed. But retirement takes that badge away from you. Suddenly, your day is wide open. You don't have back-to-back meetings or a massive to-do list. Facing those empty hours is incredibly tough at first. You have to learn how to just sit with yourself without feeling useless, because society has trained us to believe that if we aren't producing something, we don't have value. Third, some of your regular friendships fade out. This is a painful truth that catches people off guard. These aren't people you had a big fight with. There is no drama. It's just that your life stages don't match anymore. Your old co-workers and friends are still trapped in the Monday to Friday grind. They are still stressed about office politics, budget cuts, or raising kids, while you are operating on a totally different wavelength. When you have all the time in the world and they have none, the common ground that kept the friendship alive starts to shrink. You stop texting, stop meeting up, and the connection just goes quiet. Fourth, the pressure to prove yourself to others disappears. Think about how much of your life was spent trying to meet someone else's expectations. You worked hard to hit numbers, impress your manager, and get a good annual review. When you step away from the workplace, that heavy weight drops instantly. There is no supervisor watching your hours, no corporate ladder to climb, and no inbox full of urgent demands. Your body relaxes in ways you didn't think were possible, because you finally realize you don't owe anyone an explanation for how you spend your Tuesday afternoon. Fifth, you lose your motivation for your old career. Before retiring, you might think, "I'll still keep up with industry news," or "I'll still care about how the company is doing." But for most people, that drive vanishes the moment they hand in their badge. You realize that your motivation wasn't based on true passion, it was based on obligation. You cared because you had to pay the mortgage and put food on the table. Once the financial necessity is gone, you find that you don't care about office gossip or industry trends at all. It's a clean break, and it opens up space for things you actually want to do. Sixth, the daily schedule made by your company is gone. For decades, your job was the scaffolding of your life. It told you exactly when to get out of bed, when you could eat lunch, and when you were allowed to go home. It shielded you from making choices about how to spend your time. When you retire, that entire framework disappears overnight. Standing in that massive open space of free time can actually make you feel dizzy and disoriented at first. You go from a life where you were pulled through your day by a strict schedule to a life where you have to gently steer the ship yourself. Seventh, your work ambition goes quiet. That deep hunger to get the next big promotion, earn a higher title, or have the biggest office down the hall completely stops mattering. Letting go of that professional drive doesn't feel like a failure. It actually feels like a massive relief. It is like loosening a grip you didn't realize you had been holding so tightly for 30 years. Your ambition doesn't die, but it changes form. Instead of building a resume for a company, your drive shifts toward building a healthy, peaceful life, like taking care of your body or working on a hobby you love. Eighth, and this is the biggest shift, the identity tied to your job title walks away. For your entire adult life, your career defined who you were. When you introduced yourself at a party, you said, "I'm a manager, I'm an engineer, or I'm a teacher." Your title was your identity card. When you retire, that name tag is taken away. This can feel absolutely terrifying because you look in the mirror and don't know who is looking back at you. But it is also the most liberating thing in the world. You finally get to stop playing a corporate role and start figuring out who you are as a whole, real human being. Retirement isn't about everything you lose. It's about everything you finally get to keep. When the constant rush, the fake busy work, and the corporate titles walk away, they leave behind a wide open space. And for the very first time in your life, that space belongs entirely to you. You get to decide who you are without checking a calendar or asking for anyone else's approval. It's a completely new chapter, and you can meet it with a lot of grace. Thank you for spending this time with me at the Silver Porch. If this conversation brought you a little bit of peace today, please hit the subscribe button. And leave a comment below. I'd love to know, what is the one thing that went quiet in your world after you retired? Until next time, take care.